بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. قال الله تعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ودخل جنته وهو ظالم لنفسه قال ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا. صدق الله العظيم. So we continue in the story of the two brothers or the two companions, the two associates, as the different tafsir mentioned. And speaking where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphatically narrating the story and speaking of the repugnant, despicable, despisable quality, characteristic, and attribute of pride and arrogance. Now the question arises, why is it that the one whose pride or the quality of proudness is so despised in the eye of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And the different tafsir have different reasons. One that stood out is because the one who is proud, yes, it's only one vice, it's only one sin, and it's only one wicked trait, but it prevents you from a thousand virtues. So the one who's proud, he's not going to apologize. The one who's proud, he doesn't seek repentance and forgiveness. The one who's proud, he doesn't give. The one who's proud, he doesn't say salam. He doesn't go to the he doesn't attend or accept the invitation of the one who he thinks might be lower than him. So it blocks him. It's a preventative factor for a thousand virtues. Why? Because the one who's proud cannot acknowledge that he's at wrong. So how's he ever going to get better? So yes, it's only one. لا يدخل الجنة. Who ya Rasulullah? The one who has a mustard seed of pride. So we were speaking that that is why it's incumbent that we learn to remove that pride from ourselves and work with one another to build that connection and to build that brotherhood. لا يضر التباعد لمن تقاربت لا يضر التباعد. That distance is not a preventative factor. إذا تقاربت القلوب, when the hearts have been united, So وَدَخَلَ جَنَّتَهُ. So now and we said that in Fakhruddin Razi, he writes that while he's walking with his companion, his brother, dragging him, they enter the garden, وَهُوَ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ, and he is only harming himself. قال ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا. So in the previous verses, it was speaking about his body language and how he was displaying arrogance in terms of his physical nature. But now he actually utters it by word. And he says, ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا. ما نافية, you have ما للموصولة, istifham, and over here ما is the meaning of no. ما أظن, I don't believe, I don't see it possible. It's not gonna happen. أن تبيد هذه أبدا. بعد يبيد, to be destroyed, to be ruined, to go back to ruination. ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا. I don't think these gardens that I have will ever be ruined. I don't think anything could. I have, as they call it today, generational wealth. Forget me being rich. My generations to come will have money. I don't think anything could happen. And this was the saying of every king who was ever put onto any throne, and every president who ever sat in the White House, and every ruler of any country, every person who had a business. He said, you know what? I'm going to rule this country forever. I'm going to be the king of this country forever. This is not really the time, but for those who know, my dad, he comes from a country in southern Africa called Zimbabwe. So the ruler of Zimbabwe was a guy by the name of Mugabe. So Zimbabwe back in the day used to be colonized by the British, and then they fought for the independence. And the main soldier in that army who fought for the independence of Zimbabwe, his name was Mugabe. So they said, "Oh, you know what? We got independence. Let's just put this guy as the president of the country." This guy took, so when it was ruled by the British, it was a good country. Everything, it was prospering, there was things being built, the economy was good, the rand was good, everything was good. And as soon as he took power, the first thing people liked, let's print some money. Started printing money over time. The country is so bad that if you wanted to buy a loaf of bread or some milk, you had to go with a wheelbarrow of cash because he printed so much money. So over time, people said, man, we just have to get rid of this guy. So one day it came in the newspaper, Mugabe died. He's dead. So the street said, man, we're so happy. Like he finally died. We can get a new guy. And what did he do? He just told the newspaper, right, that I died so that I could say I came back to life and I'm never leaving this country. They said, what? Like, we thought we got rid of this guy, like he's still here. So every ruler said, man, I'm never leaving. Finally, after so many years, almost 40 years, and now the guy's almost dead. They kicked him out, they banished him out of the country, they got a new leader. But everyone says, oh, you know what? I'm never leaving. I'm never leaving. And I'm reminded of the statement of Umar ibn Aziz, radiallahu anhu, who was Umar. Someone said, he said, شمالك خير من يمين سواك. شمالك خير من يمين سواك. That shimal literally means your left and yameen the right. But the Islamic majazi, the metaphoric meaning is that the left in Arabic denotes, or the right denotes that the person's being productive. The person's in his youth. He's optimal. He's at his best. He's at his pinnacle. They say, Umar, your dull moments, your least optimal moments, when you're off the pinnacle, is better than the brightest moments of anyone beside you. When you were at your dull moments, you were more productive and you produced more and you were more proficient than anyone besides you. There was, I'm reminded, and Umar ibn al-Aziz, he was a man who had money, and then when he came into rulership, he left that life of luxury to such an extent that one day his wife, on the day of Eid, she wanted to buy a new garment for their son. She wanted to buy a new garment for the son. So Umar Abdul Aziz, he had no money. This is the ruler of the Islamic empire when it's at its heights. So he says, you know what? Let me go to the treasurer of the Islamic bank and see if I can get a advance payment. So my payment for the next month, let me see if I can get it early. So he goes and he writes a letter. So he sends it with the messenger. So he says, go see if I can get an advance payment. So I can buy my son some clothes for Eid. So the letter comes back and no money. So he says, what happened? So he looks on the backside of the letter, and the treasurer wrote, Umar, I can give you your advance payment. You can do me one thing. Can you guarantee that you will be alive to work for the next month? You're asking for advance payment, but can you guarantee you're going to be alive to work for that month? And Umar said, you're right. You're right. You saved me. Someone said, and this is in Tafsir Kabir by Fakhruddin Razi, he writes that a person came to the well and he saw that the sheep and the wolf were drinking from the same well. It is متى استلح الذئب والشاة. When did the sheep and the wolf make peace? That now they're drinking at the same table. You don't have brothers drinking together. You don't have spouses drinking together. You don't have family members dining together. متى استلح الذئب والشاة؟ حين استلح الراعي مع المولى. When the shepherd made peace and unity with his Lord, when the leader is in obedience, then you can only think what fruit is going to prosper from his leadership. So never mind. So Umar ibn al-Aziz, rahimahullah, he was walking past a person and he was in affluence and luxury and he had a big house and plantations and gardens and servants and all these different luxuries. So they said, you know what, Ma ra'yuk? What do you have to say? What's your opinion? What do you think about this guy's generational wealth? And I wish you could understand Arabic so beautiful, so beautiful. I read this in Nafhatul Arab. هذا سرور لولا أنه غرور ونعيم لولا أنه عديم وملك لولا أنه ملك وفرح لو لم يعقبه طرح ولذات لو لم تقترن بآفات وكرامة لو صحبتها سلامة. هذا سرور لولا أنه غرور ونعيم لولا أنه عديم وملك لولا أنه ملك وفرح لو لم يعقبه ترح ولذات لو لم تقترن بآفات وكرامة لو صحبتها سلامة. He said, this is a fortune, this is happiness, this is bliss, this is plentiful. لولا أنه غرور, provided it does not deceive you and make you arrogant. You cannot sit on your comfortable couch and drive your Mercedes. Think, man, I'm the king of the world. Man, I got it made. Look at me. Look at what I did. Look at what I. هذا سرور لولا أنه غرور. How can you be deceived by this? وَنَعِيمٌ لَوْلَا أَنَّهُ عَدِيمٌ. And yes, it's a blessing. And yes, it's beautiful. Yes, it's a fortune. إِنَّ الْأَبْرَارَ لَفِي نَعِيمٍ. They're going to, اللهم اجعلنا منهم. They're going to be the righteous. They're going to be in luxury. It says, لَوْلَا أَنَّهُ عَدِيمٌ. Provided it's not one day going to be fleeting. And it's not one day going to go. And it's not one day going to be non-existent. وَمُلْكٌ لَوْلَا أَنَّهُ مُلْكٌ. This is kingship. This is ownership. Provided it is not going to diminish. There is no ruler where either it only happens one of two ways. Either you're the king and your kingdom died while you were alive, or you died and the kingdom was inherited by someone else. At some point it's gonna end. These are all mutaradifat, just synonyms that just add to the beauty. وَفَرَحٌ لَوْ لَمْ يَعْقِبْهُ تَرَحٌ. And you have moments of happiness and moments of pleasure. But followed by that happiness, there always comes some sadness. How many times have you heard that such and such family were out enjoying? Maybe they took a boat ride on the water, and something happened and it went south, and one child fell overboard. And what do you have? Now you have fatalities and casualties. You left with five and you came back with four. They went in the car, they were going to enjoy a nice evening, and above protect us. They get into a car accident, casualties, and وَفَرَحٌ لَوْ لَمْ يَعْقِبْهُ تَرَحٌ. You enjoy, but there's always going to be at some point some sadness. It's not to say don't enjoy, but remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always the one who's in control. وَلَذَّاتٌ لَوْ لَمْ تَقْتَرِنْ بِآفَاتٍ لَذَّاتٍ. Deliciousness, enjoyment, the pleasantries of life at some point is going to be lost. وكرامة, in its nobility, it's amazing, it's a term of honor. لو صحبتها سلامة, if you could always remain young and you could always remain in your youth, meaning at some point everything is going to go. So he says, ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا. You know what? I don't think I'm ever gonna lose any of what I have. This is mine. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. And this is so, this type of behavior, I saw it with my dad. He said he saw this with his own eyes. His own eyes, he told us this. This beggar comes to this guy's door and he's knocking on the door. He's begging for some money. And the poor guy is handicapped, so he doesn't have half his leg. So the guy tells him who is knocking at his door. He says, "You know what? Knock at this door again, I'll break your other leg. You're not going to be handicapped. You're not going to have a leg." I mean, what? Who is it that you think you are? They talk about this guy. He's 7 foot and he's a personality or whatnot. NBA player, athlete, most despicable people. 7 foot. He's in an elevator and there's a guy who's maybe like 5'10". Unfortunately, we didn't have NBA height. He's 5'10" or whatever. So he says, "Oh, like he's just making a joke. Oh, how's the weather up there?" Because that guy's 7 foot something. "Oh, how's the weather up there?" So the guy spits and he says, "Oh, it's raining." Who is it that you think you are? Who is it that you think you are? You have nothing. You have nothing. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives. "ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا." I don't think that I'm gonna lose this ever. And you know what? Uh, my dad used to tell us that is إنما البلاء بالمنطق. إنما البلاء بالمنطق. People get into problems because they start speaking. They start saying this and that. So my dad used to always tell us, don't ever try to question the authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when it came to that Titanic, what did they say? This ship, unsinkable. Unsinkable ship. That was that was the headline, unsinkable ship. So what did Allah do? Oh, unsinkable? I'll sink it. My dad, we had one of his close family members. So he had some problem with like certain type of people. Okay, so he says, "Oh, I never get married to that type of person. Like I never get married to that type of person." What happened? He didn't marry them. That's how life goes. You think you're in control? That's how the circle works. لا تترك التقوى اتكالا على النسب فقد رفع الإسلام سلمان فارسا وقد وضع الشرك شريف أبا لهب. That you never know how the circle's gonna turn. Don't leave taqwa because you're like, oh, you know what? I have a good lineage, I have a good family, I have this, I have that. Because it was Islam that boosted the heights of Salman the Persian, where Rasulullah ﷺ said, Ahl al Bayt, he is from our family. It was the lineage. Yes, he's from the Quraysh, the family of the Prophet ﷺ. He had all these, he could understand Arabic, he was fluent, he understood this, he was wise. But it was his arrogance that led Abu Lahab to where he's going to be placed in Jahannam. And what the Prophet ﷺ said when it came to Bilal, مَا لِي أَسْمَعُ دَفًّا عَلَيْكَ وَرَائِي فِي الْجَنَّةِ. Bilal, why is it that I'm just hearing your footsteps tapping behind me in Jannah? You never know. You never know. Don't look down. Oh, I would never meet that guy. Oh, you know what? I'm having a function at my house. I'm a doctor. You know what? That guy, he might be only a business. He's working as a clerk or a cashier. He's not good enough to sit with us. We can't invite. No. What did? And I'm just going on, and the time is running. What did Abu Jahl say? وإذا تتلى عليهم آياتنا بينات قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أي الفريقين خير مقاما وأحسن نديا. Oh, Prophet ﷺ, which of the two of us, between me and you, which one of us has better rank, has better position, has better status? وَأَحْسَنُ نَدِيًّا, has the better social circle? Like, how are you comparing me and you? Like, this is what Abu Jahl said. You want to compare social circles? Like, look at who I hang out with and look at who you hang out with. We're not the same. We're, this is what they said. So he says, so to continue, he said, "ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا." I don't think I'm ever gonna miss this. I'm ever gonna lose this. وما أظن الساعة قائمة. Oh my word, it just gets worse and worse. He says, you know what? Coupled with that, this qiyamah, I don't think it's happening. I'm paraphrasing. This qiyamah, it does not make sense. This blasphemous. What I'm now remaining. Uh, uh, there was a companion of the Prophet ﷺ named Khabbab. Khabbab, he was kind of hadidan. He was a blacksmith. So he worked from this person named As bin Wa'il. As bin Wa'il. He worked for this person. He worked for some time. And at the end of his work, he said, "You know what? Give me my measure. Give me my payment." The guy said, "No, I'm not giving you a payment." He said, "No, I worked. I did the labor. I did the work. Now give me my payment." He said, "Oh, you're talking about akhirat, right? I'll give you a payment then. I'll give you." أَفَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ بِآيَاتِنَا وَقَالَ لَأُوتَيَنَّ مَالًا وَوَلَدًا. Have you seen those people? They deny our signs and they think they'll be given money and children in the hereafter. Have they seen the unseen? وَنَرِثُهُ مَا يَقُولُ وَيَأْتِينَا فَرْدًا. Forget getting money and children. They're going to come to us alone by themselves, individuals. He's going to get double the punishment. He's saying, "Oh, I'll give it to you thereafter. I'll give it to you then. Oh, it's never going to happen." مَا أَظُنُّ السَّاعَةَ قَائِمَةً. I don't think this qiyam is happening. وَلَئِن رُدِدتُّ. And if I was to be returned, I think I'm going to find a better substitute there. If if la ajidanna, so you put ta'kid and emphasis. Yeah, if it even happens, I know for sure if I had it good here, I'm gonna have it better over there. The tafsir, right? Why did he think he's gonna have it better? Because in this life, you have a friend and you have an enemy. Who do you favor? The friend. And do you give any favor to the enemy? Of course not. So he's thinking, man, I got it made over here. Obviously, God likes me. He's going to give it to me there too. He gave it to me here. He's going to give it to me there. So I end with this. So when we were doing this verse, our teacher, he told us, he gave us this example. He said, you have a fish as a pet. And you give the fish, it's a little sprinkle of food, right? It's a little sprinkle of food. And then Ronnie left the bag of rice open. Now he has a rat. So he said, man, I got to catch the rat. So he buys the trap and whatnot. And what does he put on the trap? In Tom and Jerry, they put a big block of cheese, right? So the fish you gave it this much, and the rat to catch you gave it this much cheese, right? You're trying to catch it, you give it a big portion. So the onlooker says, man, looks like the rat's got it made, man. He's got all this food and the fish is barely getting anything to survive. But no, hello, that's how life works. When you just because you haven't, you're given a lot and you got a huge measure and you made it and you got this much money and you got this and that and this, it does not mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes you. The fish has little, but we like the fish more, and the rat has a lot. that does not mean it's got any favor. Do not be deluded into thinking just because I have it here, it means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala favored me. Yes, they were rich companions, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, Uthman ibn Affan, radiallahu anhu, but the majority of the companions were poor. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has so many virtues for them. Don't be deluded and oh, I have it made here, I'm going to have it made over there. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us understanding and tawfiq, and He removes any iota, any ounce, any mustard seed of pride from our hearts. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يعز من عاديت ولا يذل من واليت تبارك ربنا وتعاليت نستغفرك ربنا ونتوب إليك اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واهد الناس جميعا واجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى اللهم طهر قلوبنا من النفاق اللهم طهر أعمالنا من النفاق اللهم تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم آمين يا رب